All right, so you've finished building your slideshow. You've added some Pear Deck templates. You've added some interactive questions to some already existing slides. Now you're ready to present your slideshow and use it with your students. So you're going to open up your slideshow. Again, you will note when you open it that that Pear Deck add-on is not open over here on the right-hand side. Normally, when you do a slideshow, you just click on this present button. When you are using a Pear Deck slideshow, you will never, ever, ever want to click on that present button. Instead, you will first go to add-ons. Again, open your Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on so that the Pear Deck add-on is opened here now on the right-hand side. When you are presenting with a Pear Deck powered slideshow, you want to always, always choose this green Start Lesson button. Once you select that, and you can do this in a Google Meet with your students, once you select that, you will have two options. First, we're going to talk today about the instructor paced activity. So you are going to use the slideshow live with your students during a live synchronous remote teaching time. So I'm going to click on instructor paced activity. And once you do that, a new tab will open. And on that tab, you will have options to invite your students to the slideshow. I do suggest that you click that green Start Lesson button and get your slideshow up and running in Pear Deck before you start your class session with your students. Because depending on the number of slides that are in your slideshow, it might take a few minutes to load all your slides in the Pear Deck session. So just get that going before your class starts. Once you do that and you get your slideshow going, you will then see this box up here on your tab. This gives you options for inviting your students to your Pear Deck session. The district did purchase the premium version of Pear Deck this year for all teachers and staff. So one of those features, the premium features, is the ability to invite your class using Google Classroom. So there's Google Classroom integration. There's certainly other ways to invite your students. You could have them simply type in joinpd.com and then type in the 6-digit code. You can give students a link. All of these things would be connecting directly to this live session that is opened right now. I like to use that invite class feature because that way then students won't have to type in this code. And once you click on invite class, it will automatically connect to your Google Classroom account and you will see all your classes that you are a teacher of. And then you simply select that class and click invite this section. Students then will still need to go to joinpd.com, so you can put that link on your Google Classroom page, or you can put it in the chat in Google Meet, or if we are live in person with students, you can simply type that on the board. And then once students click on joinpd.com, they will be able to see a list of sessions in Pear Deck that they have been invited to, and they will simply need to just click to join the live session with you as the teacher. So I have joined this session as a student. So now I can see, this is the teacher side right now. I can see how many of my students have connected so far to my session. And then when I'm ready to start the class, I simply click on Start Class. I'm going to switch over real quick to the student view. So here at the student view, students will be asked first this question. While you're waiting for things to get started, how are you feeling today? They can put in a response or they can skip that question. You as the teacher have the ability to turn this mood question off in your Pear Deck settings, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. So I'm feeling great today. I'm going to click on that green smiley face. You will notice now that we are on just the first slide. Again, this is the student view. Students cannot click anywhere on the slide, students cannot navigate to the next screen. If I start back over here on my teacher side, I'm ready to start my class. Here in the teacher dashboard, you will see at the bottom your teacher controls here. So you as the teacher are able to navigate through the slides. What I have just done on my screen on the left-hand side is the teacher view, and on the right-hand side is the student view. I've logged in as a sample student. So as the teacher, when I am ready to move on to the next slide, I simply click on that arrow on the bottom left, and my screen changes, and you can see that the student screen automatically changes as well. Student screen and teacher screen look fairly similar. Teacher screen just shows the slide. Student screen shows the slide, but since now this is a drawing response slide, students have this drawing toolbar down here at the bottom. So they can select the different colors, they can select the different drawing tools. Here's that text tool. So if they still wanted to respond via text, there's the text tool as well. So students simply use those tools and they can draw their response. You as the teacher, you have the ability to see student responses in and control their screen in a number of different ways. So again, down here on the bottom bar, the first thing I'm going to talk about is the lock screens option. So as the teacher, you can immediately lock the student's screens. So if I click on that button, students' screens get immediately locked and they are not able to interact with that slide. They can still see the slide, they can see their answer, but they can't change it or add anything to it. You can always click unlock screens to give students the ability to interact with the slide again. If you click and hold down on the lock screens button, you have 3 timer options: 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 3 minutes. And if you select the timer, it will give a countdown timer for the students as well on your screen so that you can both see that there is a timer and that once that timer has ended, the student's screen will automatically lock and they will not be able to input an answer again. Again, you can change this and always unlock the screens again for the students if you so choose. So we're going to see that the screen now automatically locks and the students aren't able to input any more answers. I would always suggest that you lock the student screens before you use this next feature, which is showing student responses. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Show Responses. Again, the student screen here now does not change. The teacher screen is where I can scroll through and I can see my different students' responses. This is the projector view. The projector view for the teachers does not list student names with the responses. So this gives you the ability to show student responses without embarrassing students with, their name attached to it or if it's a wrong answer. There's different ways to show the responses. Now I only have one student listed here, so only one response, but you could do a list layout, which means you would have the ability then to scroll through and see all the student responses nice and large like this first one. Grid layout allows you to see multiple responses on the screen at one time. They're a little bit smaller. And then overlay layout just has one screen and everyone's responses will be kind of on top of each other or overlaid on each other. So then when you're ready to go to the next screen for the students and yourself, you would just click that arrow at the bottom and then the student's screen would automatically change. So here, this was a text response screen. So students will have this text response button here, or this box, that they can type into. And again, then you can see as the teacher the responses as students are typing or after they input all of their responses. On the student end, there's no like submit or enter button. They simply, once they start typing, you'll see the response on your screen. Again, I always suggest that you lock those screens first so that students can't change their answer, and then you show the responses. You're also able to see down here at the bottom how many students have responded. So if you have 25 kids in your class and only 3 have responded, you can, give some prompts to your class to make sure that they all give a response to this question. So you just keep going through your presentation and having the students interact with the different slides. This was a draggable slide. So on a draggable slide, students have an icon that they can drag anywhere on the screen based on the template that you've used or based on the question that is there. Again, you could just go through all of your different slides. When you're ready to end your presentation, you're going to go ahead and click on that end button. That will open up this box. You're going to give your session a name, and then you have an option to publish student takeaways. This is another premium feature of Pear Deck. If you select that box and you click on Save and End Session, student takeaways are a Google document that will include a picture of every slide from your slideshow and the student response. These takeaways are specific to each student. So I can then have the option to share this takeaways document with my students through Google Classroom. Each student, since this is connected to their Google accounts, will only have access to their own takeaways document. It is a Google document that is completely editable. They will see the slide and they will see their response to the question that was posed on that slide. There's also room for them to add additional information or to change their responses. So it's a great note-taking feature. It's a great way to give students a document of their work from the session. So if you check that box, then you have the option to share to Google Classroom, and you can go through and you can select your Google Classroom class, and you can select your class, and then you can go through and schedule that post as an assignment or announcement to your classroom. I'm just going to click here on Return to Slides. As the teacher, it will bring me back to my slideshow in Google Slides. And on the student end, you will see your teacher has ended the lesson. And again, it asks for some feedback. You can turn this feature off in your settings, and I will show you how to do that as well.